she did them, and I was aware she did them, and I just didn't know how to stop her from doing perks, and I kept warning her about fentanyl because I have a lot of friends that lost their kids. So I'm part of that club now. And I used to beg her, and tell her, please stop taking them. You don't know what's in them. In my daughter's case, is she didn't OD. For people that don't know the story, she was murdered by fentanyl. This is a picture of my daughter for the people that never seen her.
And I can't say it enough times. Do not accept anything from anyone you don't know. And even if you do know them, don't accept it unless you know what it is and where it's come from. And
I would say at my worst, I was probably taking between 30, 35, sometimes maybe 40 a day.
If anything, the way I look at it is like Sopranos saved me. When I would think like, man, what are you doing to yourself? It would be a lot easier for me to go like, stop doing this. Look at what your life could be, instead of what a lot of my friends were dealing with. And, I think it's 5 of my friends who I brought to the premieres of The Sopranos are dead now.
I had my own battle with addiction as well. The Vicodin and Percocet, that was the thing. Never, I didn't do heroin, or it wasn't coke or anything else. It was Vicodin and Percocet.
By 2005, I was a full-blown heroin addict and a crack cocaine addict.
And even people with the worst kind of mental illness have a chance if they have the capacity to be honest with themselves. The reality is we've been lying to ourselves with every drink we put in our mouth, or every puff we take, or every pill that we pop, or whatever we're doing. And then we wonder why people get pissed off at us, but we don't see that it's what we're doing. It's not my mother, my father, my brother, my uncle, my sister. No, it's me too.
The consequences are too severe for me. The damage I've done to my health, it's a fucking miracle. Nothing short of a miracle that I am still alive. So, if I can do it, any of you can do it.
When people suffer from alcoholism or drug addiction, there must come a moment when your life totally crashes. For me, that moment came when the pain was too great and the consequences were too profound. Only then did I decide to change. Recovery and sobriety is all about change, and for me, it started when I woke up in a grimy hotel room in a shitty little town in Pennsylvania. And so, if you want a new life and start a new journey of a lifetime, you've come to the right place. You want to drink? That's your business. You want to stop drinking? That's our business. Welcome to Recovery Tube.
Hey guys, we haven't done one of these in a while, an addiction and recovery show. I need to start doing these as often as possible, especially since this is a newer channel and I have to get the algorithm going and all that stuff. But I did leave a community post on my other channel letting everybody know that we'll be doing this over here now. So we have very few people right now. We only have about 8 people, but we'll get more. We'll get more as time goes on. I don't know how many, but it's all good. Even if there's one of you, it's worth doing the show. So I want to take some ideas from you guys. If you have anything specific you want to talk about, or just put in the chat and I can respond to. But also, I do have a topic that a friend of mine, I'm sure you can imagine who, sent me a little while ago. So we'll get to that too. It's kind of similar to what I've spoken about a lot of times on this show. It's a question that I think we all need to figure out the answer to, and I'll get to that later. But, some people are going through really hard times right now. They've lost people. They're losing people. So the topic of, how people remain in recovery through things like this, illness and death, and horrible stuff going on in their lives. It's a good question, because it's not easy, as we all know. So I'll get to that in a little bit. But if anybody wants to talk about anything in the chat first, let me know, or just put it in the chat and I'll respond to it. Right now, we only got Tom Sheehy and Miss Can't Be Wrong. It appears in the chat, but there's a few more people watching. If I was doing this on the other channel still, we'd have 50, 60, 70 people. We used to get up to 100 at times, but with this channel, it's going to be tough. We got to build it up. So feel free, anybody, to share it on your social media to get it going, So, all right, I guess I'll get started with this. This is exactly how my friend wrote it to me, and I think, it's much better written than if I would have, So you'll be able to tell as soon as I read it. How do people in recovery remain sober when confronted with a horrific personal tragedy and sadness that is so overwhelming and paralyzing that it is hard to see a path back to feeling good or hopeful again? Very good question. Like I said, a lot of people, I'm sure, are going through things now. We have people on the other channel who just recently lost family members, parents, stuff like that. No matter what in life, you're going to experience death and illness and stuff, not just, your own personal, but the people around you. So I always ask myself this question, because I know tragedy's coming, because tragedy's coming for all of us. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, just a matter of when. So I always worry. I worry about how I'm going to deal with certain things when the time comes, definitely. I don't know if I fear relapse so much as other things, but it's definitely a possibility, I've never dealt with any horrible tragedy in my life without turning to cocaine and alcohol. Never. And I hope to think that now I would be able to, but I don't know, and I won't know till the time comes. Some of you guys may have already had to deal with something like this while in recovery. So again, if anybody wants to tell their story in the chat or hop on here, it's up to you. And we could talk about it. But for me, I've said this before many times. I think that it would have to be, I would know in my mind that no matter how bad the tragedy, I can only make it worse. I can only make it worse by using. Can't make it better. It's just going to add to the tragedy. It's a sad thing, but you got to stay strong through it no matter what. You got to stay clean and sober, especially, if you have a family, and most of us do, and if the family loses someone, yeah, you got to be strong for them. You have to. And the last thing they need is for us to go back to our old tricks. And then they not only have to deal with the loss of a loved one, but they got to deal with our bullshit. It's not good. It's not good. And you wind up affecting a lot more people than just yourself. A lot. Depending on the size of your family or the people around you, you do. It's very sad. I might elaborate on a story, something I'm going through right now. Maybe later on in the show. I don't know. I got to decide. But, I'm going through something right now that's pretty tough. And I think, I'm having a few more health issues and stuff than I was last time I did an addiction recovery show. So maybe we'll talk about that, as much as we can. I got to be very careful with everything I say on here, but we'll see. We'll play it by ear. It's finding a way to numb the pain without using. Yeah, and how do we do that? How do we numb the pain? I have no idea. Can't ignore it. It's impossible. Some people can compartmentalize. I've never been good at that. Not when it comes to death and stuff. And my only way to numb the pain was to use. So that's not good. That's not an option for us anymore, you know? It's just not the way I see it. So I guess we won't know until the time comes, you know, but there are coping skills and stuff. I'm sure a lot of you people learned in recovery, just like me, that we have to put to good use when something like that happens. Definitely. Miss Can't Be Wrong says, when we lost my dad, when we lost my dad the whole way, my brother was high. Yeah, that's not good. I understand, you know, I don't knock him, but I'm sure that put extra stress on you and your family, Miss Can't Be Wrong. It had to have, you know. And I can only imagine myself the destruction I could cause if I decide to be selfish and use to deal with things my own way. You know what it could cause the people around me. I'm a very angry, violent drunk, and a lot of my rage. We all have rage buried deep within us somewhere. Sometimes it's just right under the surface, and it comes out when you use. So you never want to use at a time like that, because you're just going to be adding more and more pain to an already painful situation. The whole time you meant? Yeah, I figured when you said the whole way. Looking back, it was crazy. I bet. If he did have it, he was like, if he didn't have it, he was lying around sick. Yeah, well, that's the other end of it. Don Berlin, I don't think one can avoid pain. What one can do is manage the pain. Part of that involves reaching out to our friends. Yes, I agree. Definitely. It's always good to have somebody to talk to and vent to. And you can't stay isolated in a situation like that. You'll just implode eventually. So I think that's very, very true. Well, a lot of us are very lucky to have people in our lives. You know, when you're alone and you deal with a horrible tragedy, it's, you know, it's a lot easier to relapse, because you feel like you're not hurting anybody but yourself, and you might not be, you know, but most likely you will. And so when you're alone, you know, it's easier to be selfish and say fuck it. You know, you're not even worried about anything else, just killing your own pain. I don't know, guys. I mean, I guess it's something that has to be figured out over time, unfortunately. And you have to face a tragedy to learn whether or not you're going to be able to deal with more in the future, you know, without using. Because the older you get, the more people you lose. It's just the way it is. And not just to death. Definitely to death, but not just that way. You know, people go through breakups, divorces. You know, they lose custody of children. They friends go away. People go their separate ways. You miss people. You don't know how to deal sometimes without a certain person in your life. I have somebody who's very sick in my life right now. Very, very sick. His situation is not good, not by any stretch of the imagination. And this is a person who I love very, very much. And I don't know what life is going to be like without him there. I really don't. I'm having trouble even picturing it, as hard as it is to do that. You know, I try not to think about it, but you can't not. You know, so I've asked myself a lot of times over the last couple of months, how am I going to go on in life knowing that this person isn't around anymore? You know, and I don't know. I don't know. But I got to figure out a way. I have to figure out a way. He would not want me to crash and burn after he's gone. That's for sure. I know that. So I guess all we could do is hope for the best and do everything we can to stay positive and try to remain strong in those situations. But it is dangerous. It's dangerous for anybody in recovery, Anytime something like that happens, we go back to our old ways, I listen, me personally, don't get me wrong. I mean, throughout my addiction, sometimes it wasn't always that I just couldn't cope. Sometimes it was that I had been looking for an excuse all along to relapse. And then as soon as I lose somebody, then it's, it's like I said, it's like a perfect excuse for using again, because you've been thinking about it the whole time and looking for a reason, so to speak. Other times, it is that you just can't cope. You can't take the pain. You don't know what to do, and you feel like you yourself are going to lose it or hurt yourself or something like that if you don't figure out a way to cope with what's going on, to cope with the loss. I just know one thing, no matter what, is that, like I said several times in this show already, there's no circumstances that are going to be made better by using drugs or alcohol. There aren't any, So you always got to keep that in mind. And if you want to be strong for the people around you and you want to be able to help and make it easier on them, then you can't do it. You just can't do it. You just got to know that in your mind that that's not an option. It's hard, but you have to. Otherwise, you make things worse for yourself and everyone else. Oh, okay. I put it up on my community post, Miss Can't Be Wrong. Don Berlin, I always have believed that our job is to be by the side of the people left behind who look up into the heavens and ask why and hear back nothing. Yes, I believe you're right. Without a doubt. I believe you're right. You got to be that person. We are that voice of silence for the people who are left behind. Yeah, very true. Very true. And we're fucking useless if we're, high, drunk, using, and we can't even control ourselves or help ourselves, no less anyone else. He wants you to keep on the path you're on. Yes, I definitely know that about him, and that that's of course the plan. I'm not going to relapse because of the inevitable, but I know it's going to be on my mind, of course, my whole fucking life. Anytime, like I said, sometimes I was just looking for a reason. As addicts, that's what we'll do. You know what I mean? We'll say, well, when something bad enough happens, I'll be able to go back to my old ways, and I could use this tragedy as a reason and justification for doing it. As sick as that is, that's the way addict mind works. You're always looking for a reason, an excuse, justification of some sort to go back to using. There's no question about it. You can't do it though, and in my life, I did this time and time again. I did it time and time again. How can anyone blame me? How can anyone blame me? Look at what I'm going through. I can't deal with this clean and sober. You can. You can. We all have it within us to do so, but we look for that crutch, that easy answer. How can you fucking be sad and distraught over a tragedy if you're not even barely conscious, or if you're if you're so out of it that you don't even know what's going on, you can't think about anything really. You're so fucked up that you're able to escape it completely. You're able to escape it completely, but that's only temporary. It's only temporary. And then eventually you're going to have to face it. You might have to do it from a jail cell or a rehab or a hospital bed, or a wheelchair. You never know. Or maybe you just get help before it's too late. But eventually you're going to have to face everything clean and sober. It's inevitable. Unless you do something crazy, which of course is really just going to make things worse for everyone around you. And that's not an answer either. So you got to be strong and you got to get clean, and you have to face the facts that you are going to deal with tragedy time and time again throughout life. And if you've made the decision to be clean and sober, then that is not an option anymore. Using it's just not. It's not an option. I remember the first time I got clean and sober. I wanted to use so badly. I was young. I was in my very early 20s. I was 20, 21, something like that. And I knew in my mind there was no way I was going to stay clean and sober the rest of my life. I just, like I said, I was either 20 and just turning 21, or I don't think I was 21 yet. You get my point. I knew that at that young age, there's no way I'm never going to have a drink again, especially since in the beginning, I loved drinking, and I love doing cocaine, and those two go hand in hand. So I knew all along that it was just going to take the slightest thing, because I felt that I had to stay clean and sober for the people around me. They stood by me while I was in the hospital, almost on my deathbed. They stood by me through outpatient rehab, so I didn't have it in me to just let them down. But if a certain thing happens, a breakup, any type of tragedy, the loss of a friend, well, then how could they blame me? But the problem is, we're not like regular people. Okay. Regular people, God forbid they lose somebody today, they can go out tonight and drink it away, maybe even tomorrow night, and then get their shit back together and face it with a clear mind. We can't. Like most of us, if we decide to handle a tragedy tonight by using, whether it's drugs or alcohol, we're going to be using for possibly years, at least weeks, months, something, and you never know too, because if you're an alcoholic, there's all types of things that can happen to you. Health-wise and everything else. You could wind up driving home from the bar one night when you're dealing with this tragedy by drinking it away, and you could wind up killing somebody or getting killed yourself. If you're a dope addict of any kind, you could get a bad bag or fucking wind up with some fentanyl, and overdose and die. End up on life support, brain dead, something. So you can't risk it and say, it's okay, I could go on a little run and I'll be fine. I mean, how bad can it get? How long can it last? It could be fatal, and it could last forever. You never know. But even if it doesn't, the amount of damage an addict can do in a short period of time when he chooses to use is, you never know. It's immeasurable. It could be anything. Could be anything. I had to watch my 42-year-old friend's 9-year-old son say a little something at his wake. It melted my heart. Dropped from a heart attack. My heart melted. Jesus, I keep switching this fucking thing. Had to watch my 42-year-old friend's 9-year-old son say a little something at his wake. It melted my heart. Dropped from a heart attack. My heart melted. Yeah, I'm sure, bro, and I'm sorry to hear that. When my friend Dink died, I had to watch. I believe she was 4 or 5 at the time. His daughter, stand at his chalk outline at the memorial and say goodbye, Daddy. And I had a daughter the same age, and I was hysterical, fucking crying. And I to this day, when I think about it, it melts my heart. Like you said, it just, It's so incredibly painful. The world we live in, that a little girl has to say goodbye, daddy. At such a young age. It's sad, but it happens all the time. It's a shame. Your mind says this time will be different. Oh my God, yeah. Absolutely. It's always going to be different. You'll convince yourself of that. It's okay. I won't go too far this time. I'll just drink for a day or two, or you bargain with them. I'll just drink beer. I won't drink liquor. Liquor is what usually fucks me all up. It makes me violent or makes me do crazy things. I'll just drink beer. No. I won't take heroin. I'll just take a little oxy, whatever it might be. You start bargaining and shit, and you tell yourself that somehow you could do it the right way this time, so it doesn't become a problem. No, you can't. You most likely can't. There is no right way. So bottom line is, try to stay sober for the people left behind so you can be present in their lives during the darkest hour. If for no other reason, it will take your mind off the immediate moment. Yes, I agree. They need you. You got to be there for them. And, it gives you purpose. Helping them, not only are you doing, you're doing the right thing for them, but the fact that you're functioning and you're doing things and you're talking and you're helping might also help you. Like Don says here, take your mind off the immediate moment. Yeah. You can, if you could turn the pain into something positive, it might make you not want to drown your sorrows as much or go, use something. The last week to 10 days have been super hard. Sam, I remember you saying something a while back about this. I feel terrible for you, bro, and I'm sure they have been. I'm sure they have been. Life is so much better sober. Unfortunate things are going to happen in life. Being sober is the way. Oh, life is fantastic sober. Life is fantastic. Even now, it's a beautiful day. It's hot as a motherfucker, which is fine with me. I just want to go out and enjoy myself, whereas using, who knows, I might be going through alcohol withdrawal right now. I might be fucking snorting myself half to fucking death. I might be passed out from the night before, even this morning, You miss life. You miss it. Time is so precious and it passes so fast. And when you're not, I'll say conscious, and I don't mean like as if you're knocked out cold. I mean, if your mind is not aware of all the beauty and joy that's happening around you, if you're too fucked up, your mind is in a haze. You can't do anything other than try to figure out where your next drink or drug is coming from. You lose that time. It passes so quickly. I mean, one thing I beat myself up about to this day is the amount of time I fucking wasted, decades. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, that I was, I mean, on and off, over decades. I'd have a couple of years here, a couple of years there where I lost it. I could tell you about years long relationships I was in that I don't remember. I'm not saying I don't remember it happening. I'm saying an ex of mine could walk up to me tomorrow and ask me if I remember, 5 or 6 different things we did, and I wouldn't remember. Hang on a sec, guys. I got an important phone. All right, guys. Sorry about that. It was my brother. Let me get back down here. You just got to go through the 2 weeks of withdrawal. It sucks. I know it could be done no matter how far you are. Oh yeah. As far as getting better, people are scared. And I understand they're scared of withdrawal. They're scared of just change. They're scared of not having their substance that they always use to comfort them and help them feel better. But man, if you're just willing to go through that short period of time, whether if you're an alcoholic, an opioid addict, whatever it might be, and you have to go through the withdrawal and be medicated and treated and attend a program of some sort or a rehab facility, whatever it may be. I mean, life after that is going to be 1,000 times better than that drug ever felt. It will. You can even watch these shows like Intervention. A lot of them don't succeed, but the ones that do, when they fully recover, they're experiencing a life that they don't even remember living before, or just a completely new life. It's true. You get so used to that routine of using that your biggest fucking fear is not doing it anymore. You don't know how you're going to cope and function. Like with shit we're talking about now. You don't know. You worry about what happens if so-and-so dies, or what happens if I lose this, or if that happens. Then it gives you more excuses and reasons not to get clean and sober. But what are you going to do? You got two choices. You get clean and sober at some point, or you drink or use yourself to death. You use some sort of drug or alcohol until the day you fucking die. And that death probably won't be far away, won't be far off if you're using like that. I told you guys, just my first bout with severe alcoholism, I was 19 fucking years old. The doctor told me, if you keep drinking the way you are now for just another 6 months, you will have full-blown cirrhosis of the liver. You'll have full-blown cirrhosis of the liver. That's all I needed to hear. But it didn't last. I just gave my liver like a year break. Fortunately, when you're that young, that's enough to be like brand new again. But that doesn't last forever. Yeah, bar age. That's what I was. I wasn't going to, you know what I mean? I knew that. But I didn't want to let anybody down, so I needed a good excuse to use. And I forget what happened. Something happened, though, and that was my excuse. I went and grabbed a bottle, actually from someone's house. And I started drinking, and I felt justified in doing it. It's like, well, how could they fucking blame me? And I don't even think it was anything real serious, to be honest. I didn't think it was. And then if you face a breakup, oh my God, there you go. Hit the bar. That's our that's our thinking, is this is how we deal with this one. And no matter what it is, your mind is always going to be looking for a reason for you to use, trying to convince you that now is a good time. But you can't let it trick you into that. You can't. That's when people really develop a taste for, oh my God, yeah. All right, Sam the man. Sounds good, bro. Have a good day. When you are using, you are always chasing it. Always chasing it. Always. It's miserable. I mean, I remember even selling coke. Like, I was using so much cocaine that even with grabbing a couple of ounces at a time and still making a little profit, I would go through so much so quick that it's like, okay, now I'm really eating into that profit. So I have to re-up again so I could take a little personal out of that. So I just re-up constantly. So I had enough for myself to use, and I the way I am riddled with anxiety and shit, I would be if I thought that, oh my God, I'm using to the point where there's not going to be any money left on this go around. You know what I mean? Like, there's not enough coke left to make money. And I used to love, oh my God, I used to love going to re-up. A lot of drug dealers do, because they know, boom, as soon as you re-up, it's like you printed more money for yourself. But when you're a dealer who uses, it's not just that. you're excited just to find out what the new shit's gonna be like. You can't wait to try it. You know what I mean? To even just get your hands on it and know that you have it. Okay, I have a little more for myself now. I'm good. I don't have to worry for a while. And drinking, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, I got stories for days that some I'm just not willing to tell, but I mean, I remember sitting around going through withdrawal on like a Sunday or late at night when the liquor stores are closed, you know, because way back in the day here, there was no liquor stores on Sunday, and everything here is a package store. It's state run. There's no delis and shit where corner stores and stuff where you can grab a bottle of liquor. Ain't happening. Never, even to this day, you can't grab liquor. If you want liquor, you got to go to a liquor store, and they have limited hours, you know. But at least now, you know, I guess they're open on Sunday. You know, I think they close early, but you know, back then when I was going through it, I would seriously consider just putting a mask on, going and getting a big fucking rock or something and throwing it right through the fucking window of a liquor store. I was that desperate just so I could run in and grab a couple of bottles. I mean, I thought of everything. I had girlfriends' parents fucking picking up liquor for me. I had fucking my older brother. I had older friends, you know, you know, because when I was really, really bad, you know, when I was young, the first time I went through this shit, I couldn't even buy liquor. I wasn't old enough. You know what I mean? So, but even when I was, you know, when the places were closed or when I ran out, oh my God, I would think about all kinds of crazy shit, different ways to get my hands on some. It's not even like drugs. You know what I mean? Drugs, they're available 24 hours a day. Liquor isn't. Depending on where you live, it might not be. And no amount of beer is going to fucking help you when you're severely addicted to hard liquor. It's just, you won't even get enough in your system to take the withdrawal away before you piss it all out. It doesn't work. I've tried it. I struggled through some days. I probably drank a case and a half, you know, just enough to keep me from having a fucking seizure again. But it's not something that, you know, that you can really use as a way of keeping yourself from being in a very serious situation from withdrawal, like a heart attack, a stroke, a seizure, something, you know. So, I mean, when you're drinking like I was, a fifth to a half a gallon a fucking day of vodka, 80 proof, you know, and you run out and you're sick, with beer is not going to help you. You'll be in such severe pain and agony that you won't be able to do it long enough. Your stomach will be so fucking sick that you're going to throw the beer up anyway. It's not enough. It's not enough. You need, you know, a good bit of alcohol in your system just to calm your stomach, just to make that part of the withdrawal subside a little bit. So it's a nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And I wish some bad things on my enemies, as you guys know. Fucking terrible. All right, maybe I'd wish it on my worst enemy. Let's be honest. But not for me. I'd rather go through damn near anything than go through that again. It's horrible. Horrible. Would have liked what too much, Miss Campione? Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. That's one thing that never leaves me. As bad as my memory gets, I could see it in my mind. I could feel it in my body when I just think about what that was like. Oh my God, your whole entire body's shaking. Your insides, your everything, and your hands. I mean, do you know what it's like? You know, the other day, me and my mom went out to eat. Her blood sugar was low. It was Mother's Day, right? And I felt terrible. She couldn't even eat because her hands are like, when she's trying to pick up the food and she can't get the food on the fork and stuff. And I said to my mom, I know how horrible that is. If you remember, Ma, I said, I remember one time I was in my apartment, okay, and I had to fill out a rent check. I had to pay my rent. And I probably broke 15 pens, okay, because the frustration of your hands not working, not doing what you want them to do. It might sound silly to you, but first of all, it's terrifying. Secondly, it'll make you so fucking angry and full of rage because it's like, first of all, that this is what you did to yourself. Secondly, how the fuck am I going to function without my fucking hands? I had to have my daughter's mother come over to my crib to fill out the check for me. But every pen I would break the fucking pen, throw it against the wall, grab another pen, like as if the pen was the issue, and that's just part of it, the agony that you go through physically, and your brain feels like there's just going to be an electrical, outage. Seriously, like, you could feel that you're on the verge of something serious, like a seizure. Okay, it's terrifying. Your vision's fucked up. You're pouring fucking sweat. You're vomiting. If you don't have anything in your stomach, you're dry heaving. And that you're in serious trouble because your heart is going, 160, 170 beats a minute because you are on the verge of a massive stroke or heart attack. And you'll die if you have one of those. You know what I mean? In most cases. It's horrifying. Nose candy. Oh yeah, Miss Camp, you're wrong. Nah, listen, you made the right choice. It's too good. Don't try it. It's a good thing you never did. The funniest thing is I've always said so many times that, and it's true. You could ask my mom. I was so anti-drug as a kid. You have no fucking idea. The way my parents raised me, no drugs, no alcohol. It's how my parents raised me. And I don't know what it was. I think it was just being around the drugs and so many people doing them for so long that it's like, now for me, it was alcohol. That was my thing. If you want to say something was a gateway, it was alcohol. I never liked smoking weed. And when you're drinking, everything's a great idea. So yeah, if you're drinking and you're sitting around and you got a bunch of Coke around you, you might do like I did and say, it always looks so good when people try. Let me try it. And then, man, you get that feeling, you sober up. Because Coke will most likely, if it's decent, will sober you right the fuck up. And you feel just what the cocaine feels like. And plus you learned, oh my God, if I'm too fucking wasted, I love drinking. If I'm too wasted, I do a little bit of this and I'm brand new again. I can start drinking all over again or just keep drinking. You know what I mean? Your brain learns immediately, how good this feeling is and, how you can use it, so you could do your other drug of choice fucking more than you usually were able to. It's bad. It's bad. It really is. Plus, the way Hollywood always glamorized cocaine. I mean, looks like the greatest thing in the fucking world. Who wouldn't want to try it? But you'd be smart not to. Yeah, look what it did to me. I mean, it was the mixture of the alcohol and the Coke, but look at me, I was at the doctor yesterday. I had to report about 5 or 6 new issues I'm having. Now they're worried about my heart again, because I got some things going on. I got to go through testing, all types of other shit. I had to get all types of blood work. And this is all, I did this to myself. I don't know if people on here know exactly how long I've had this now. I think I said 36 a couple of times, and for some reason, that's the number I had in my head. I got diagnosed, I believe it was July 12th, 2014, with heart failure. So it's 10 years now. 10 years I've had this shit. And you got to spend your life in fear. Now, I'm pretty good at not thinking about it. I just live my life. But times like yesterday when I got to talk to the doctor and see his reaction to certain things I'm telling him, it reminds me of the fact that, for a person to get heart failure at the age I did, your life expectancy is only about 5 to 10 years. So to be at the 10-year mark and realize, holy shit, it can't get better. It can only get worse. It's terrifying. And I got to face the fact that I did this to myself. Nobody did it to me. I did it to myself. It's hard to deal with. You don't want to be in that situation. Oh, do you, Miss Campione? Have her keep mints in her purse in case her sugar goes low and she can't. Yeah, she always has something, a little piece of candy or something. But we were going out to eat that day, and it didn't really hit her until we got into the restaurant, and it was just terrible because I saw her struggling, and it broke my heart. You watch them get old and stuff, and somebody my age shouldn't be able to relate to that type of shit, but so many times throughout my lifetime, I mean, I was so severely addicted that the withdrawal would be like my whole body was like convulsing, basically, until I got enough liquor in me to calm it down. Terrible. Makes you nuts. Oh, it does. I told you I used to bang my head against the wall just to try to knock myself out because the withdrawal was so fucking bad. Well, I know you do, or that's how my parents raised me. Oh yeah, yeah. And I had an older brother who was doing shit. He was drinking and using drugs and stuff. So, they certainly didn't want it to happen to me. But I don't know. When you're a teenager, it's very easy. You start drinking because everybody's drinking, and it looks so goddamn good. You want to be fucked up like everyone else, and then after that, depending on who you are, you might be in the danger zone, because even if you are a strong-minded person who's against using drugs, drugs look great when you're drunk. Everything looks great when you're drunk. Everything. Think about all the people who would have never, ever, ever had sex with certain other people if they were sober and saw what they really looked like with a clear vision and a clear mind. You know what I mean? Listen, I remember a guy fucking offered for me to take his car home. I was at his house. I was so fucking drunk. I didn't have a car for some reason. I might not have had my license. And I drove home, which was a pretty far fucking drive, in his car. Woke up the next day, didn't know how the fuck I got home. And he told me that I took his car and he needed it, and I couldn't find it. I had no idea where I parked it. I forgot how we finally found it. But the point is, though, even that sounded like a great idea. I wanted to get home. Yeah, why don't you take a real far drive late at night when you don't have your license and you're fucking drunk as a motherfucker? Everything sounds like a good idea. So if you're sitting in a room with a bunch of dudes who are doing powder cocaine, and you're seeing it and you're seeing how good they feel and how much fun they're having, eventually you're going to say, most likely you're going to say, let me give it a shot, and that's all it takes. It's one thing my parents always told me. It only takes one try. Forget about that experiment and bullshit. Certain things you do once, you could be ruined for life. It's true. Definitely war. Yeah, the movies. Oh my God. It makes cocaine look like the greatest thing ever. I just see hot chicks, especially if you're a dude, hot chicks just snorting cocaine all over the fucking place. You see a movie like Scarface, it's like, oh my God, how do I get some of that? Michelle Pfeiffer sitting at her little vanity thing with fucking taking bumps. Looks beautiful. A bad time for me is when I had to dry out in the county jail. It sucked bad. That's a nightmare, bro. I never had to do that. All I had to do was, I had to report to York County Prison to begin my sentence while I was still pretty addicted to benzos. Like, it wasn't like as bad as, it's not like I was taking Xanax. like Xanny bars 3 times a fucking day for years, but I was taking 4 milligrams of Ativan every day for years, and that's bad, and it was tough. But you know, I was able to get through it because I was on work release, and I snuck a lot of that Ativan to my job where I would take it from time to time, and then I was able to wean myself off. No lie, true story. Yeah, now I am. Me too, Wart. Same to you guys. Miss Can't Be Wrong, FBS. Imagine how much better you are health wise now. Had you kept going the way you were, you might not be here, and that's sad too. I definitely wouldn't be here. And if I was, I would be in such a bad state of, you know, a bad condition of health that I would have no quality of life any fucking way. Fast cars and a pile of white stuff. Yep. Fast cars, beautiful women, lots of money, and that pile of coke. Yep. I never been to jail, but heard it's nasty. Of course. Fucking disgusting. It really is. I mean, it's so many fucking ways. I can't even imagine a place like Rikers. You know what I mean? Or even certain federal, penitentiaries and even state prisons, you know? Can't even imagine the level of nastiness. But, you know, the one thing is about jail is a lot of people will keep at least their area clean and keep up their hygiene to some extent, because you'll get beat the fuck up. You know, if you're in a dorm stinking and everybody's got to smell you, you're going to get fucked. You might get slocked or some shit. You know what I mean? If you're, your area around you, like your bunk, whatever, is dirty and filthy and stuff, you're going to get people take that as serious disrespect, you know. And just like if you're in a cell with a cellie, you know, and you're not taking care of your little area, you know, there's going to be a problem. So just because of respect, just the respect issue, a lot of people try to stay somewhat hygienic and clean, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter in the long run. I got to the place where I hated to drink, but always would. Oh, yeah. I told you, man. I don't even know. It's probably only the first few years of my drinking, you know, throughout my lifetime, or in my lifetime, that I actually enjoyed it. It was the first few years of doing it, if even a few years. I hated fucking drinking. The older I got, I just used alcohol as a way to be able to do more cocaine, to slow my heart down and even myself out and shit. You know, drugs get you, but booze speeds it up. Oh, yeah. There's Ducks. What's up, bro? I was detoxing from opiates and federal lockup with DEA agents leaning on me to rat. Yeah, that goes to show you're a stand-up guy, because a lot of motherfuckers would have said, just so I could go home and get a fix of some sort. What do you need to know? You know, that's why the mob and street guys in general and stuff, they don't want to deal with anybody who's a heroin addict, you know, because they know that a heroin addict will be in such severe pain from withdrawal while they're sitting there being questioned that they might give up every fucking buddy just so they can go get well, you know. Or it was miserable, I guarantee it. Cook County, though, is a horrible fucking place, man. Might as well be Rikers. Might even be worse. I've never been there, of course, but I know enough about it. You know, I have friends from Chicago, and I've seen shit, you know, and documentaries and stuff like that, you know. But I've heard enough about it just from my friends. It's a fucking nightmare there. It's a nightmare. I bet. I saw Cook County on lockup and MSN. It was bad. Oh yeah, I mean, you got fucking lots of really bad fucking people in there. You know, it's not like a whole bunch of people that are in there for DUI and driving without a license. You know, you got killers, you know, throughout the entire jail, and all types of other criminals. Yeah, it's a horrible place to be. Gangs left and right. It's just like being in a penitentiary. You got to be with somebody. You might get hurt. It's bad. May as well be a state pen. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So to wrap it up, yeah, guys, listen. You'll never know how you're going to deal with tragedy till the time comes, but it's not a bad idea to maybe, I don't know, learn as many coping skills and stuff as you can, and prepare yourself for for something like that to occur in your life, so you're not caught by surprise and you don't fuck up and run out to a bar or go grab a bag or something. I think about upcoming tragedies all the time. I try not to, but I do my best to prepare myself, so this way when they happen, I'm ready for them, because without my sobriety, I got nothing. I got nothing. And I've come too far to let that happen, to lose all that. Everything I do have. I have a pretty good life. So, I guess that's all you can do. Let me put this up, guys, because I didn't have it up. I'm surprised Miss Can't Be Wrong didn't yell at me. Here's the, wait a minute. Where is it? There you go. This is a little outdated, but to reach the National Addiction Hotline, there's the number. Write that down. To reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, 988. And don't forget, please, guys, if you haven't already, go to nextdistro.org, fill out some information, watch a little video, and get yourselves some free Narcan. You can have it on you. You can have it in your car, your house if you need it there, and you might be able to save a life with it. And never feel alone, because you got us here and we love you. I promise you that. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I love you all. And until next time, salute.